owing to the, the economic situation in the country, the cost of living, this 11.2 billion, could the president and his team have, just taken a small portion of it from the 11.2 billion to ensure that the Huduma number is efficient as compared to kickstarting an entire new program that will cost the country billions of money this time?
Well, thanks, Ian. I think it follows suit that we talked about this in the last set here today about, the unique personal identification number. I gave it an approach in the last set. I said, sometimes when one regime begins to transition to another regime, then there is tendency to try either, not to transition with the policy or just do away with it. And that sometimes caused a lot of, destabilization here and there. I think we discussed this the other time, but let me give it another view of it. I agree with certain aspects of these processes, with what Professor Gola has just talked about. One, my concern is on the issues of data protection. And every time I said, if, for example, we are a nation who are still grumbling with the effects of the election that we have, and one of the petitions about election is that even the internal and servers of the IEBC, you saw it was an issue that was discussed in the Supreme Court. Whether the so-called Jose Camargo and the rest, and these are the petitioners, whether someone had a hand into the servers. So it not only portray a sorry situation that our data is controlled by external operators, as Professor Gola has put it, but then it also puts into us a fear that however much we try to put our data into one stop major congregated or consolidated platform or data bank, then it seems it's not safe still. That is a worry for me, because the government has not really consulted professionals on this issue, and if they is so, then it means that a number of public participation, like we foresee, has not been done on this issue. Now that is the data protection aspect of it. The second, as Professor Gola has mentioned, is that it has been, the budget has been reflected in the finance bill. We are talking about corruption. And one of the things you say is that corruption, and I like the way it has been put into perspective, that we are no longer, even shouting about it. We are putting it on the budget. We are budgeting for corruption, unfortunately. And 11-point-something billion for this, unique personal identification number is already on the finance bill. And sorry to say that our politics, and yesterday I was saying in a different platform, that you see, the political class is so funny. We are talking about taxes and punitive taxes. But Kenyans' political emotions are whipped to believe that what we should be talking about in the finance bill is the punitive tax. And unfortunate, Professor Gola said that there is yet something else in this finance bill which deals with your unique personal identification number that has been budgeted for. So many Kenyans have not really even thought about it in the bill. So I think a situation, a sorry state of situation where there is a number of issues that needs to be conversed about, and there is a lot of petitions, tons and tons of public participation and memorandums and all this that was submitted purely on finance bill, purely on taxes, but not on this issue that we are talking about today. So I think it's important for us to, even as we sit, and I like the conversation, we are talking about corruption. But again, sorry, Ian, do we have a definition of corruption? Not in this country. If you are prosecuted because of corruption, you'll be told that you are being prosecuted with other related crimes. For example, forgery, for example, bribery, for example, conspiracy. But we have not defined what is this corruption. Not even in your languages, not even in Luo, not even in Kikuyu. There is no word that defines this. We only have a reference to it, of what this corruption is. So I think even as we talk, as we give it perspective, these are very interesting dynamics about corruption. Yeah.
Well, Daniel, both of you are talking about, the main concern